newspaper underneath you because, you know, if kids are struggling with crayons, they can work on the table. So that's what that is for. Okay, now, if you remember this, you'll see that there are 2 sticks. So this is a shorter stick, and this is made with a longer piece of newspaper. All right? And again, thinking about children, I just want to show you another way of rolling. Now, I know you've rolled lots of sticks before, but I just want to show you a slightly different way that might make it easier. Now, you know when you're working with children that rolling a stick diagonal to diagonal on a piece of paper that isn't properly square is very difficult because it can go wrong very quickly. So what I'm going to suggest you do is that you turn your newspaper into a square. So can you just take one small piece of paper out in front of you, and all these things I'm just going to just put behind you for now so that you've got, okay, right. So if you just open your piece of newspaper. Now if you take your newspaper at a diagonal like that, you're going to get a square.
Oh, the same way we do with the small
Yeah.
papers.
Pull, just so that it's equal on the side. You can fold it, but you don't have to. And then what I'd like you to do is just, you can fold this back if you want to cut properly, or you can just cut it. But you're going to basically cut this section off. So that you've got much more of a square shape to work with.
So just to make sure that I get the corners.
Yeah, or you can just cut straight. I mean, it doesn't have to be absolutely accurate, but basically cutting that piece off. And depending on how you're working with the children, you might want to talk about being a rectangle into a square so that you bring a little bit of mathematical vocabulary into the whole thing. And remember again, before you roll a stick, you need your tape ready. Okay, you just need one for now. Okay, good. Now, also, in the past, I've said to you, you take a small little corner and you do 3 folds and then you roll.
Yes.
I've changed that a little bit because I think this is easier. You can go slightly bigger so that you're, depending on the child's hands, if the child's hands are smaller, you can go smaller, but let's start slightly bigger this time. Now, again, you're going to start with a very, very, very thin fold. And you're using all your fingers to make that fold.
Oh, good.
And then you're going to make another fold. And you might want to say to children that they can iron it with their fingers so that it folds more easily. And in the new way I do sticks now, I don't get kids to roll just yet. I just get them to fold. So you keep folding, it's easier. And then eventually, as you fold, the roll will come automatically. You'll see as you go. So just keep folding and keep ironing and using all your fingers. Yeah, as you're doing, you can also hold and stretch your fingers across. And then eventually you're working away from the center. If you just look at my hands, I'm working around here. So that you can work a little bit away from the center so that you're folding the edges, because those edges sometimes misbehave. And then it doesn't really matter if the sticks are round or flat, actually, as long as they're strong. That's the main thing. So slowly, slowly, you'll start to see that a fold will, the roll will automatically come out of the fold. I don't know if you find this an easier way to work. I think it's slightly quicker.
Yes.
How are you finding it, Sam?
Yeah, very quick.
Yeah, it's better. you're going to do it again with a big newspaper. From folding it into a rectangle, into a square, and making a stick. I just want to show you now too. Just stop where you are. If you want your stick to be straight and not bend too much, you can also roll one of these little sticks into it, and that will also hold it. Okay.
Because also, yeah, sometimes the stick tends to.
They do, especially, but then that helps. And also rolling with double newspaper, double paper.
Double
It's going
paper.
to make it stronger. I'm interested that you're finding that easier to roll that
Oh
way.
yeah, with me this
Yeah,
one.
that's the
Ever
best
since, yeah, for me, like, it's
Okay.
much more. a
And
bit
you, Sam,
easier.
you happy that way?
I'm happy this way.
All right, okay.
So that.
So we're going to be basing the next series of workshops on working with a paper plate. And one of the things with a paper plate is you can see it's white on one side and these are white on the other. How nice. Very often paper plates are like this and brown on that
Oh,
side.
yeah.
But now that they're white on this side, that's also great because basically this is quite boring. And what we need to do when we work with these projects is a lot of coloring in.
Mm.
And we're going to be using wax crayons and we're going to be using Koki pens. But wax crayons are probably the best things to use. If you're looking at preschool children, they go quickly, they can scribble quickly,
Yeah.
and so on. Now, and depending on what you want to make, you can do whatever you like with it. But I've printed out some really interesting designs that give messages from different cultures. So the first lot are called Adrinka symbols. They come from the Ashanti people in Ghana, which is in West Africa. And I've just chosen very few, and I've also chosen them because these are circular patterns. But traditionally, before people wrote in the way that we write now, a lot of designs and patterns based on basic geometric shapes had meaning. A little bit like logos of motor cars, if you think about that. And the Adrinka people in Ghana would actually print these on cloths, and they still do to this day. So they'd be wearing clothes that you could read. So depending on, so a chief, for example, might have this, or a woman might have that, or whatever. But this circle within a circle is leadership, and then the presence of God, and let's live together in harmony, and the eagle, which is about loyalty and devotion. And then Chokwe people come from Angola, which just bordering on the DRC, and they've got an amazing symbol system that they actually carve into drums and things like that. And there you can see some of the sun, the universe, a bright star, she's beautiful like a star, and a palace, which is interesting.
It's
because
similar
it's similar,
to the
isn't
great.
it?
Yes,
Exactly. And then Nguni people, Xhosa, Zulu, and Ndebele, Swati from Southern Africa. Sunlight, you can see there's a repeat of bright star. And sunrise, birth, sunset, old age, and a symbol for home. And I've got a whole lot more, but these are just a few because they're interesting because they're all based on circles. The Aboriginal people of Australia, campsite, meeting place, which is similar to the greatness and so on. I mean, these are all very interesting because they are so similar. A star or a sun, rainbow or cloud, water holes connected by moving water. A Native American Indian, sun or happiness, plentiful crops, passing of the seasons, rain clouds, good prospects, and the 4 ages of life, infant, youth, middle, and etc. So you might want to give these to children and they can choose the one that they want to put onto here, that they want to feel, or you can suggest they can make their own one. But if you look here, I have given you a whole lot more that are local, that belong to us. And if you look particularly at Ndebele designs, you will see that a lot of them, these feel very similar, are based on that. And also drum patterns, ceramics, particularly amongst Zulu people, are very similar to these. And I think it's really nice that kids realize that there is a symbol system that is local and also kind of a writing symbol, and that you can give messages through this if you want to. So you can design your plate based on any of these. So we can go through it, and there are whole symbols for men, youth, warrior with shield, chief, brain, mind, female symbols. Further about beautiful visitors, queen, goddess of creation, mother is the source of all life, and so on. A planter, a skillful person, a vagabond, a useless person. Marriage, birth, home, if you go over, symbols for fire or lust or love or passion, unity, breakup, divorce, war, hostility, divine guidance, greatness, sunlight, sunrise, birth, sunset, old age, the future, and a whole lot of pleasure, joy, obedience, wisdom, silence, conversation, gossip, pollution, madness. Amazing that they had something for pollution even. Madness, hyena for greed, turtle, keeper of secrets, fertility, birth of light, eating serpent, truth, insect, which is, and the bee particularly for diligence, and bird, speed, all haste, river, tranquility, sea, eat, hut, home, home of the in-laws, etc. So I want to suggest that for what we're doing today is that we use these directly, anyone that you like, and preferably something that can fit really nicely into a big circular shape.
Yeah.
So I'm also going to suggest that the colors you use can be colors that are entirely your own colors that you feel comfortable with. If you're at a school, one might talk about color theory, but that's not what we're going to be doing. We're just simply going to do something that you really feel that you want to work with. Okay, so because I'm in the sunset in my time of old age, I'm going to do that one. So I'm just going to show you a few things based on that on my paper plates. I'm going to give you a bit of a demonstration. So I'm going to draw it first, and I'm going to draw it using black. Now you'll see that there's also a line through the middle, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to fold my paper plate more or less in the middle, and eventually we are going to need to fold our plates for the next part of the activity, so it might be a good idea for you to fold your plate into the middle anyway, your first plate.
Can I swap this out?
Yeah, you can take that out for now. You may want to use that again at a later stage, but just fold down the middle. And just iron it quite. So I've got my center line now. Now you will see that quite a lot of these have center lines, or if you're going to be doing that, you can also, and there's a circle and whatever. So you can do some folds to get it more or less accurate, but again, we're not too concerned about accuracy really.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So there's my center line. So I'm going to draw that, and then there are a whole lot of stripes that go up. And again, it doesn't really matter how many you make. So I'm just going to go striping on my way up here. And then again, you can decide exactly how you want to color it in. So I might want to have a very colorful old age, so I might want to use all the colors up here and my favorite color down there, whatever color, doesn't matter. If you are not engraving with a stick, then you can color in as light as you like.
Yes.
And then you can also use these crayons. I know Gianni's given you quite a lot of these crayons, and these crayons will work perfectly well. You can see that. So you don't have to have the teddy crayons. The teddies are only useful if you want to get really dark and you want to engrave. Now, it's fine to color light, but actually it's also really nice to press hard. If you press hard, you'll see that you get a really, really rich color.
Okay.
But you'll also see that you get little things, little bits of the wax and that's why you've got this here for that paper, because the wax can also get stuck into wood and things like that. So again, I don't want to dictate how you work with this, but for this exercise, it's actually useful to really press hard. And you can say to the children that you're cleaning a floor, or you're painting a floor, or you're painting a wall. It was once white, you want to give it a beautiful color. You don't want to see any of that white. So really, really press very, very hard.
Okay.
All right. So whatever design you want to use to start with, you can start working and drawing it, and you can work with pencil and things, but you can draw straight with crayon. I've just used a black crayon to draw. It doesn't matter. You can use whatever color you like. And the important thing again with children is, and if you're working with paper plates, is to use the whole space. You don't want a tiny little picture. You want the whole space taken up with what it is that you're working with.
I took the one that says home, since I'm from Kylie. I'm making a new I'm making a new home.
I'm doing the greatness leadership. And I'll fuse it with another one.
Are you using leadership?
Yeah, the greatest.
Ooh, sunny.
Which one is that one?
This one.
That's
but,
fantastic.
But I will definitely fuse it with another one.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So if you look at this one that I did originally around circles, you can actually build patterns around that as you go as well. So yeah.
Ooh.
but we've all coloured in a paper plate using a symbol,
Yes.
or more than one symbol mixed up together, and they're looking absolutely stunning. Now you can keep it just like that. This can be the end of the exercise. You can take your plate and go home, or you can put them all up on a wall and have an exhibition, which will look beautiful. But because we're working with puppetry, we're going to be wanting to have this as a banner, put it on a stick and hold it proudly. So we can do all of that with just this, and we're talking about the age of your children now. So for a young child, this might be enough, and you don't want to necessarily get children with sharp sticks poking each other and so on. But I'm going to take you through the process of working with a stick, just so that you know how to do it. Now, the thing with, I'm just moving these out of the way, we can come back to them again. Maybe I'll just actually, okay, let me come back to this. So I have got two symbols on my plate, and we can, as I said, leave it just like this. Alternatively, you can add another one, or draw, or just add patterns. Now, a paper plate, because it's a paper plate and you put food on, is waxy. And that waxiness is really special because now you've added wax crayon to it. So what I'm going to do now, the stick is too big as it is, I'm going to just break it. I'm now going to draw on this paper plate by taking away the wax.
Okay.
So I'm going to use this symbol to C, and I'm going to put to C into my blue. So if you watch what I'm doing, I'm drawing, and I'm going to make an eye there, and I'm going to make another eye there. Okay, but I'm going to change the symbol a little because I want to put two eyes, rather sleepy eyes like that. Okay, now in order to see that, you need to scrape the wax away, and you start by, so I'm now scraping with that little point is going to take forever, so you can use the back of your stick and it scrapes much more. So what you're starting to get now is a really nice contrast between the white and your colors. So if I hold that up, you can start to see what's happening, right? And you might decide you don't want to add another symbol, you simply want to start just putting patterns. So I'm going to put a bunch of circles, say, into my red here, and I'm going to scrape away that background, or you can scrape away the circle, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
So for the exercise, I want you just to play with this as well. Just so that you know the both. But obviously when you're teaching, you can decide to go further with this or not. All right, so what we're going to do with this is that we can keep it exactly as it is, as I said before, or we can put it onto a stick. Now, the way we're going to do that is by cutting little slits on the back, and then we can just simply have it on one stick, or we can have a cross stick where we can do things on either side, and also the stick at the top. We might not have time to do that now, but I'll just show you that you could then take half a paper plate and attach it to there, and then just bring that in and slip it down the back to hold it. And then you can add fringing on either side. That's one way that it could be. Another way it could be is, imagine that being your paper plate, and you could have, a different kind of top. Let's put that on. And notice when I'm threading, I'm folding my newspaper, because this is too paparach to thread through. So you can have a top like that, and instead of having fringing, and you could, oh sorry, this is the top, beg your pardon, like that, and then you can have two on either side, so that it would also potentially look like that. It's entirely up to you how you want to do it, and also how much time you have. So you could do one session like this, do another session where you cut up your paper plate. It's entirely up to you. But for the sake of what we're doing now, I want you to take your paper plate and fold it over. And before you fold it over, decide which way is the top.
This is
That way. So if that's the top, fold it in half. All right, now, it's again up to you how you want to weave. If you look at the weaving here, there are a couple of slits that have been cut there and there, but the middle has been left without any weaving. So you can simply take a crayon, and if you look at, so the plate has got these textures on either side, so you can decide that you're going to do where those textures are. Let's do, I'm just going to do 3, I'm going to do 4. And you can more or less plan it out, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to do 4 little marks. And then, again, when you cut, you want to make sure that you've cut enough for your stick to go through. I don't know what I've done with my stick. Okay, now you can simply have one stick, and it can be simply just attached to one stick like that, or you can have the cross stick. Now you've made 2 sticks, so
Yes.
I'm going to suggest, because you
cross.
made 2 sticks, we're going to make cross sticks, so you do the same thing on the other side, and remember you already made a little fold. I told you earlier that I bent my stick. If you try and weave like this, it's not going to go, you'll struggle to get it through. So just fold it back so that you've got a much stronger little edge, and you're going to weave the bigger stick through the middle. I don't have a bigger stick, but doesn't matter, I can make another one just now.
Yes. Yes, sir.
And because you've got 4, you can do it in such a way that your middle is left free, and you can just weave it through to the other side. Oh, it looks quite nice with the woven thing going through. Okay, that's great. And now you're going to go the opposite side with your smaller stick. And it doesn't matter if you cross top or over or under.
Yes, yes.
But what you don't want is your middle of your plate to be taken up with sticks, unless that's part of your design. And remember to do 4 there as well. Okay, so now these are decisions that it's up to you in terms of how long you've got for the children, how your children manage. So you could simply do what I've done, a short stick, a plate, and as you were doing a little bit earlier, you don't do it yet, Sam, I just want to show you, you can just fold that back in And so you can hook it,
Yeah.
which means you don't need any tape at all.
Yeah.
In fact, the only time you would need tape is potentially for your
For
stick.
the stick.
All right.
Okay, so does this pass under or on top?
Doesn't matter.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Really doesn't matter.
Let's put it under.
Remember when you were cutting your paper for your stick, I said to cut it into a square. You've
Yes.
got a piece left.
Yeah.
So potentially, don't do it with me, I'm just demonstrating. Let me just show you. And then I'm going to leave you to decide your own option. Potentially, I can take the piece that I had left and I can fringe it. And you all know about this because we've done this before. And I can wind this around my stick. So that could be one project, all right. But because you've got a cross now, you can decide where you're going to go from here. So if you look at this one, it's also a question of time, but I think let's finish it properly. So in terms of this one, you might want to add a half a paper plate that can also, so you can also cut your edges if you want to. And you can put a half a paper plate up there or design a quarter paper plate or whatever to take you onto the top.
Okay.
And you can either have something here or you can add fringing here and fringing at the bottom. So it's entirely up to you now to decide how you're going to finish this.
Mine, it's a combination of greatness and leadership. As you can see, there's circles that are coming in the sun. And also with the fusion of sunrise, which is, this was supposed to be on this side actually, the lines, the black lines, so that to show that it's also sunrise. So I decided to use also red color for danger as well, and the blue for you know that blue is it's what it's
Ocean.
it's not ocean. It's
Yeah, it's ocean, could be sky.
sky
Sky,
as
It's
well.
also about
You can,
spirituality.
yeah, and we, as you can see, the yellow part in the middle, it's the sun. So and also in my head I used this symbol of sea here on my eyes, but I used the black color to show as well for the black communities as well. So it's a combination of a lot of things in one piece.
So basically how I did everything of mine, it starts at home. So with the black outline, with the spikes, and also this rainbow-ish, it represents home. Then from then I took the chiefnacy, which is like of royalty, because I do believe also me, I'm a child of royalty, and also the land that we're in. So with that I combined, and using the color yellow so that it stands out, it shows the brightness and the effects of it has in the community. And for you to have royalty and expansion of the nation, you need fertility. Hence why I used this one as fertility to show the growth of the land, which represent the brown is the skin color and also the soil.
Yeah.
So I combined the two, hence why the face matches the soil.
the soil.
And then what you get in the soil, you get the greens, which is what comes under the soil.
Yeah.
So I combined home, chiefnacy, and also fertility to represent the growth of an African child.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I think the children are really going to like making these. I'm interested to see when you take this to all the other puppet community what they're going to come up with. I think you've really transformed them beautifully. I love that you've made them into characters, into people,
Yeah.
into puppets.
Thank you very much.
Well done.
Yeah,
Great.
thank you.